What's good, Wizards fans? So the Washington Wizards made a trade today. They traded Kelly Olynyk, who basically got the Chris Paul treatment, where he never got to put a jersey on. And I'm happy about that because we know the history with Kelly Olynyk. He had the game of his life in Game 7 with the Celtics, so I still have PTSD from that. How are you just a bench player, the 10th man on the roster or 8th or ninth man, and you come out and put 26 points? Now, some of that, of course, is on us. But at the same time, I would never, ever, ever, ever like Kelly Olynyk because of that Game 7. He decided to have the game of his life and then score 5 points for the rest of the playoffs and rest of his career. But against us, he wanted to put 26 points up in Game 7, one of the most important games of the last 20 years of the Wizards franchise. And then Kelly Oubre, I loved when Kelly Oubre just pushed him out of nowhere. I love that with a passion. So Kelly Olynyk will not be on this roster. I think he actually would have been a decent stretch big to stretch the floor for us and rebound a little bit. I think he actually would have been like a solid 1-year player for the development to, play alongside Alex Sarr, a guy big who can space the floor and does bring some physicality. He is a finesse big, but he'll be playing with Wemby in San Antonio. So good riddance to Kelly Olynyk. But we bring in Malachi Branham, a guy out of Ohio State who I did like a lot coming out. I think he was, the 20th pick? He was in the same draft as Johnny Davis. He averages, in his career, he's 6'4", 180 pounds, went to Ohio State, was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Went to St. Vincent, St. Mary, the same high school that LeBron went to. 6'4", 180 pounds, 81% free throw shooter last year, 5 points a game, 1 rebound, 20th pick, like I said. He is 22 years old. We did get a second-round pick as well, and Blake Wesley, 2 young guys with a lot of upside. They both did not really shoot the ball very well. But, actually, Malachi Branham shot 40% from 3 last year and 54% from the field, or 45% from the field and 40% from the 40% from the free throw line, 45% from the field, which is kind of average. But he had some big games his rookie year, man. He averaged like 9 points a game his rookie year. He had more of a role, and then they brought in more guys. They brought in De'Aaron Fox. They brought in Chris Paul. Keldon Johnson was on the roster. Devin Vassell, Victor Wembanyama. They wanted to win more and be more competitive, and they brought more guys, and he kind of went out the rotation a little bit. Look at his minutes per game. They went down from 23 in his rookie year to 21 his sophomore year, and then 9 minutes per game in 24-25. He only played in 47 games. So he did have an injury. He did play pretty well some games, but so you look at some of the numbers, though. He was in 2023, his rookie year, he's ranked in the 93rd percentile among all NBA combo guards in mid-range accuracy, shooting at 51% field goal percentage, which is really, really, really good. He is a mid-range assassin. He is a little herky-jerky. Like, he has a real smooth game, step backs, crossers, double moves, counter moves, stuff like that. Like, when I watched Johnny Davis play against Malachi Branham, I was like, this is the guard that we need. This is the guy that has counter moves. Moves that can catch you off guard and get you off balance, different things like that. He just has a really smooth game. He's never really sped up. Now, people say he was making bad decisions with the Spurs, looking at some of the tweets and some of the fan reactions, stuff like that. They were happy for Blake Wesley to go. Once again, we taken on more developmental guys. We took on a developmental guy, Cam Whitmore, where he's just not going to get a lot of opportunity with the Rockets. And we took on 2 guys who are not going to get a lot of opportunities with the Spurs, and we're bringing them here. Even though right now the roster is kind of jumbled up, man. It's a lot of guys on the roster. You still got to develop A.J. Johnson. You got to develop Keyshawn George. You brought in Trey Johnson. Now you have Malachi Branham. A lot of first-round picks. We have 11 first-round picks from, like, the last 3 drafts or something like that, which is just crazy to think about. We have 11 first-round picks from the past 4 drafts on the roster. Malachi Branham was picked 20. Blake Wesley was picked 25. Blake Wesley is an athlete and a half. Solid defender. Let me look at his stats too. 29% from the 3, so he struggled to shoot from the field. 62% from the free throw line, which is pretty bad. 43% from the field, which is not good either. 3 points a game. So he just hasn't really been able to find his footing. He's been in and out of the G League, I believe. Developing. He played in 58 games last year, which is a good amount of games. 61 games in 24. 37 games his rookie year as well. Averaged 5 points a game his rookie season. And like I said, that's when they brought in more guys. After they brought in more guys like De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul, and stuff like that, the development for these guys kind of got pushed to the wayside when the Spurs tried to become a win-now team or a more competitive team in those years. So, but I do want to look at some of Malachi Branham's, some of his big games, like, because he had some big games And so he had 15 points against Phoenix, which is good. He had 17 points against Portland, where he made 3 threes, 13 against Denver, where he made 1 3, 6 for 15 from the field, which is not great. 13 points against Golden State in a blowout, 148-106. So the last couple of games of the year, they let him rock out and let him play. But he had some really, really big games his rookie year, I believe. He had 20 points against Dallas, 21 against Phoenix, 21 against Utah, 18 against Memphis in an overtime loss, 20 against Dallas in an overtime loss, 23 back-to-back against Dallas and Charlotte, 27 points against Detroit in a double overtime loss, 26 against Philly. So if you let him go and let him rock out, the guy can play. He went 11 for 16 against Philly and had 26 points. And they lost 137-125. He had 22 against Sacramento, where they lost 119-109. Went 9 for 13 from the field and 3 of 5 from the three-point line. So if we can get that guy, if we can get rookie season confidence, Malachi Branham, I think we have a player. And I just want to look at this. So we still have to trade Malcolm Brogdon, and I think we may do a sign and trade. So right now we have 17 players on the active roster, which is a lot. You know, that's over the limit. I think it's 15. And then the only bigs we have on the roster right now. The only bigs we have on the roster right now is Vucevic and Alex Sarr at this point. You know, we don't really have a lot of bigs right now. And I do think we need more bigs. I do think, even if we're not trying to win, just for the developmental standpoint, just having a functional basketball team, you still need a certain amount of bigs, and you need depth. Like if Alex Sarr gets injured, knock on wood, you just don't have a lot of depth, man. You just don't. You don't have a lot. Vucevic is 6'10". How tall is Sarr? What is he, like 7'1"? Where's he at on this roster? I don't even see him on this roster. He's 7 feet tall on this depth chart that I'm looking at. Tristan Vucevic 6'10". Cam Whitmore 6'7". You only have 2 guys over 6'11", or really 6'8", on the roster. You just need more bodies. You need more bodies, especially when you're going up against other teams with Giannis and Miles Turner's on the Bucks now, and guys that you got to go up against and bang. You just need more bigs. You need more rebound. And I get it. There's not a lot of dominant bigs in the league, but you still need a functional roster, and I just don't think we have that right now. From a big man standpoint, we do have Rashawn Holmes. He's on the roster, and there's a chance where he may not even be on the roster to start off, where he may be waived or whatever. The Knicks with Karl-Anthony Towns, the Pistons with Jalen Duren, the Magic with Wendell Carter, the Heat with Bam Adebayo. Like, those guys are going to definitely hurt us pretty badly in the paint. The Bulls with Vucevic. He's on the roster right now. But like I said, there's not a lot of dominant bigs. The Cavaliers have a gluttony of bigs with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. So just even to be like, I know we want to keep our top 8 pick, our top 8 protected pick. But at the same time, like I said, just for a development standpoint, because we don't, Alex Sarr, he's not a 5 in my opinion. He's more of a 4. So I do think we need another big that can just, take on some more physicality to help him out. But yes, I do want him to develop and be tougher and develop at the 5 spot. But you still need a big, just to, have a functional roster that can be a functional roster. I'll just say that. Not even compete, but just be a functional or competitive roster where you're not getting blown out every night. Branham and Wesley, they have expiring contracts, so they will be free agents next year. So we have a bunch of guys with expiring deals. CJ McCollum expiring deal, Marcus Smart expiring deal. If he's even on the roster to start the season, we'll see. He may not be. But we have 18 standard contracts, 19 if they keep Vucevic. So the roster is definitely overloaded at this point. Keep in mind, Rashawn Holmes is partially guaranteed $250,000 of his $13.28 million salary for the 25-26 season, which makes him a prime candidate to be eventually waived or traded given Washington's roster logjam. This is per Michael Scotto. He averaged 7 points and 5 boards, and I think we need to keep him because we just need a big that can bring some physicality to the roster. Rashawn Holmes does that. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That's about it for the trade. But like I said, I like Malachi Branham a lot. That's my favorite player in this trade. But like I said, we do have a log jam of guards. We do have a lot of guards. We do have a lot of wings, and I do think that we need to bring in like one more big if we can. I don't know what we'll get from the sign and trade for Malcolm Brogdon, but we'll see. Like AJ Johnson's a guard, Trey Johnson's a guard, Corey Kisper's still on the roster. Like there's some times where I forget about him. CJ McCollum, another guard, Chris Middleton, a wing. Will Riley will be in the G League. Marcus Smart, a guard who probably will be traded. JT Thor still on the roster. Jameer Watkins, we just drafted him. He's a guard. Cam Whitmore is a wing. And Keyshawn George talked about him. Bub Carrington, point guard. Trey Johnson, guard. And Malcolm Brogdon, like I said, we're probably going to trade him too. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Dylan Jones, who's a wing. So we got a bunch of wings and guards right now. That's what we got on the roster. But this is what Will Dawkins is doing. He's taking chances on first-round picks where it didn't work out in their original spot and just taking a flyer on them and seeing what happens. So I am intrigued to see the rotation. Like, the starting five is wonky too. It's hard for me to call that and predict that as well. Because you know some veterans are going to start that people don't want to start. Like, Middleton's going to start. I don't know if, we'll see what happens with Brogdon. I got to see what happens with Brogdon and Marcus Smart in the next coming days in the offseason. What happens with them? If they're traded during the offseason or are they traded during the season before the trade deadline? So, all right, you guys. Like I said, I like Malachi Branham. Like I said, look at some of those games 2 years ago. If we can get that guy here coming off the bench, then I think we got a really, really good player for this year. Just take a flyer and see what happens. And we do need some more shooting. I think we need some more shooting, too. Some guys who can really space the floor. We did get that in Trey Johnson. We still have that in Corey Kispert if he's still on the roster. But we need more spacing. And I think we need one more big. All right, guys. As always, hail to the Wizards. Peace.